Hi everyone, I'm Samantha from the National Electronics Museum, and today we're going to be making a potato battery. But we wanted to do a little experimentation with it. Instead of just a raw potato, we wanted to see what happens if we take a potato and boil it for about 8 minutes. We're going to take another potato and bake it for about an hour, and then we're going to leave one as is. We're going to be using a couple different materials for our battery. We're going to be using some galvanized nails. You can find these at most hardware stores. Just some, copper pennies. Probably use them before 1980 is like the best. It gives you more copper in the penny. And so we're gonna use some alligator clips, attach these up, and then see, using our multimeter, we're gonna see how many volts are generated from each of these potato batteries. Alright, so I'm back. I have two of my boiled potatoes and then I have a baked potato. So, put this out. I don't need my oven mitts anymore. Alright. So this is our baked. We baked it for about an hour just to get it soft. And then we have two of our potatoes that were boiled, and then we also have our raw. So we'll just label them so we know which is which, we don't get confused. And in a minute I'm going to show you that we're going to do a couple different things with the boiled, just for the fun of experimentation. So let's start out with the baked potato, alright? And let's start with our baked potato. And so really we're just going to start assembling our battery. So if you want to do this at home, you can. You could just we just use, a russet potato, and you can find these galvanized nails. I just found a box like this. I found them in, a Home Depot or a Lowe's, any kind of home improvement store. So, got these galvanized nails, and then we have our copper penny. So I have my zinc nail and my copper penny. Now these are two dissimilar or different types of metals, and every battery needs two different metals. And that's because in a battery, the zinc wants to share its electrons with the copper penny. Since the zinc gives away its electrons to the penny, it's known as the anode. And the copper gains the electrons, it's called the cathode. So the flow of electrons between the cathode and the anode creates an electrical current. So we'll place the nail in our baked potato, and we're going to put the copper penny, and they're going to be about an inch or so apart. And you only want your penny to be about halfway into the potato. Now you're probably thinking, well, why do you need the potato? Why is that part of this battery? Well, see, the electrons don't just magically flow from the anode to the cathode. They need a medium to flow through. That medium is the potato. And so the potato is actually acting as the electrolyte. And so it allows the flow of electrons, and actually, as we're going to see, completes the circuit. Alright, so now we have a couple of alligator clips. Alright, find these online. You can search pretty much anywhere, just search some alligator clip leads. So we're going to take one of our clips, we're going to put it right on our galvanized nail. The other one's going to be on our penny. Alright, so now we have this is our digital multimeter, and we're actually going to hook our battery up to this, and it's going to tell us about how many volts we're getting from our potato battery. Okay, so I'm attaching our potato battery, this is our baked potato battery, to the multimeter, and we're going to see how many volts. So you can see that right here, that's 0.71 volts. It's a decent amount. Okay, not quite one, but we're on our way. Okay, and that's just from the one potato, so not too bad. Okay. All right. So we've done the baked. It's the same process, but we're going to try it with the raw potato. This is uncooked. I haven't done anything. So again, we're going to do about an inch apart. Our nail. Grab a penny. You're going to have to, might have to do a little potato surgery. Try to get it in there as best you can. I put it to more. Our baked, now we're going to try our raw potato. We're going to hook it up again to the multimeter. We're going to see how many volts we can get just from this raw potato. We've done nothing to it. We bought it from the store, and then we're going to try it out. Okay. Okay, this is pretty interesting. So from the raw potato, you can see we're only getting about 0.49, well, it jumping between 0.49 and 0.5 or half a volt. So already we can see that our baked is more powerful than just our raw potato. Okay? Alright, so pretty interesting. Now finally we're going to be moving on to our boiled potatoes. We boiled those for about 8 minutes just to get them soft, and so let's move on to those next. Alright, so we'll unclip. So we have our boiled potato, okay? So we're going to try something that was seen online, and I just wanted to test it out. Thought it would be a cool part of the experiment. So what we're going to do is I'm going to slice the potato, as you'll see. It would be easier with This is the messiest battery. So we're going to slice the potato, and for this one we really don't need the skin, and it kind of comes off easily because it is boiled. So slice it to about an inch thickness. Okay. Again, this is the messier one. So what I have here, it's okay if you don't have access to this at home, but again, we're just doing this for fun and for experimentation. So we have again, just like our nail and our penny, we have our two dissimilar metals that we needed for our battery. We have zinc and copper strips. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of cut to size, and so I have my zinc, my electrolyte, which is the potato, and my copper on top. So it's kind of like a little, potato sandwich. To really secure this in place, I just have some electrical tape. I'm just going to kind of wrap around. So just to kind of hold it all snugly in place. Alright. So there we go. It's going to look something like this if you end up doing this at home, okay? But again, we want our few clips. Clip one to the zinc, another to the copper sheet. Okay. And let's see how much voltage we can get from this potato battery. Alright, so I've clipped onto my zinc and my copper. I have my potato slice in the center. And yeah, we're actually getting a pretty good voltage off of this. It's 0.85. And there's actually been research that this type of battery, even though it is pretty rudimentary, it's very cheap and expensive, and there's actually been research done that it can last days. And it could power countries where they don't really have access to the lights like we do, the energy sources that we do. So if you really need a light for cheap, this is an option. This could be an option. So scientists are working on that all the time. Okay, so this is another one of our, this is a boiled potato, and we've hooked it up to our multimeter, and you can see that we have points between 0.70 and 0.71. Alright, so another thing you can do at home if you're wanting to experiment and maybe you're like, well, I want to get a higher voltage, you know, what can I do, right? Well, what you can do is you can take your boiled potato, slice it in half, flip them both on end, and you can kind of have fun with it, play around with it, right? Experiment. And so they're both on end now. You can put a nail in here, penny in here. Okay. Grab another nail, put it in here. Okay, so we're gonna take some more of our alligator clips, and so you want to be hooking this up from penny to nail, because again, we want our dissimilar metals connected. That's how our battery works. And then we're going to have our other penny. Okay. Grabbing one of these. So then you have two, at the end you have these wired up, and we have two free clips. So then you can have some fun with it and then see, okay, well now I'm using two halves, but I have two nails and two pennies. So does that make a difference? Does that make a difference with our battery? Does it make it any stronger? We can find out. And yes, it does. So you can see that now I have over a volt, 1.21 volts. And so if I were to keep adding more and more potatoes, what's going to happen? I'm going to get more and more voltage because I'm adding more of these metals, and so more electrons are able to flow through our battery. We have more of these materials, and we're getting a stronger battery. So yeah, it's pretty neat. So we can, you can easily see that difference, that we're getting a lot more voltage than we did. And really what I wanted to point out to you is that we got a decently high voltage off of this boiled potato because not only did we slice it in half, but we wired it in series. So that makes for a higher voltage. So that's what we did. We wired in series, and once again, I'll show you power is coming off. So we're actually getting 1.5 volts from wiring it in series. Alright, so really to wrap up our experiment, we really did learn some interesting things. We found that our raw potato gave us the least amount of voltage, with only about 0.49 to about half a volt. The baked was 0.70, so a bit higher. The sandwich was pretty good, had about like 0.78, but our winner, or the one with the highest voltage, was the boiled potato that was actually split in half, and then we added an extra set of electrodes. So one more nail and penny, in the potato. But why did this happen? Like, why do we think that, the raw potato doing nothing to the potato gave us the least amount of voltage? So part of the inspiration for this whole experiment that we did today was that we saw an article claiming that boiled potatoes are actually 10 times more powerful. They make it 10 times more powerful of a battery than just a regular old raw potato. And we actually did this experiment in the museum, and it's on our website. And what happened was that we attached 2 potatoes in series, so imagine this, but just 2 more of the halves. And it actually lit up a small LED light from Tuesday to Friday. We did the same thing with a raw potato, and the LED only stayed lit about a day. So not only is it a more powerful potato, in terms of voltage, but it actually has more longevity. So again, this is just a really neat experiment that really proves that the boiled potato battery is the superior battery. So yeah, why is by baking or boiling that the point is, by, you know, cooking these potatoes, we're actually breaking down the organic matter inside the potatoes. We're decreasing the internal resistance. So yeah, by whether it's baked or boiled, we did get a higher voltage from the cooked batteries versus the raw. So that's really because when you either bake or boil, you're decreasing the internal resistance, and so really that just means that electrons can flow through our potato batteries more easily. And if electrons can flow more easily, then there's going to be a higher voltage and a more powerful battery. So whether it was a sandwich, baked, boiled, now we know. So thank you so much for watching today, and be sure to try this experiment yourself. If you do, you know, tag us on our Facebook page, National Electronics Museum. Yeah, send your photos, videos, whatever it is. We'd love to see it. And thank you so much, and have a great day.